Ah, winter. That wonderful time of year when things just slow down, especially in Northwest Ohio when nobody really wants to go outside and it's not much to do outside anyways. So that means extra time for game dev and video games and all those wonderful indoor hobbies that I love so much. Well, welcome to this video. My name's Kyle. I am a software developer as my day job, and I'm a hobbyist game developer working on a game called Knights of Nil. This video is well overdue. I've been working on this project for a long time now, and I probably should have started talking about it publicly long before this, but here I am, and let's see if I can make up some lost time. So what is my game, Knights of Nil? It is an action RTS colony sim where you develop and defend settlements across multiple procedurally generated islands with varied biomes such as forest and desert and alpine type environments. Each island and biome presents different enemies and challenges. And what makes Knights of Nil different? In Knights of Nil, you can seamlessly cycle between units and in and out of a more tactical RTS style mode. The game was spawned from an idea I've had for a long time of being able to have an RTS-like game, but where you can actually take control of any unit in the game and do that unit's job, kind of like the ultimate role-playing experience within an RTS type game. You can actually take control of any unit, such as workers, warriors, knights, wizards, and a governor type unit. Each unit has different uses and different specialties, and if you want to go and chop trees or mine stone or farm, you can take control of a worker and do that. If you want to defend your settlement at night, you can take control of a warrior or ranger character and fight off goblins. Or if you want to go and hunt barbarians and raiders and other types of enemies that exist in the game, you can take control of a knight and go and do that. And there's a lot of options, and it's a lot of fun, honestly, to be able to take control of all these different units and just play the game how you want to play it. Or later in the game, once you have amassed a lot of units and you have a lot going on, the tactical camera mode becomes a lot more useful, and you can zoom out and select multiple units and move them around more of like a traditional RTS. So what's the history of the project? I started this back in June of 2024, and I made a lot of progress. Like I said, it originally started off as proving the concept of this system of cycling between many units that do different things, and I really enjoyed working on that. And then I hit a bit of a roadblock with development where I didn't quite know how to continue wrapping up the game. I didn't know what the actual win condition would be. I started going down all sorts of different rabbit holes with design of the game, such as a more narrative approach where there was quests and kind of an overarching story that you could get to the conclusion of. I started working on some procedurally generated dungeon type things where you could find entrances to dungeons and crawl the dungeons, but I didn't exactly know what the dungeons were going to do or reward the player with. So I got a little bit overwhelmed with how to actually get the game to completion. I had a bunch of cool systems in place that made for kind of a fun little tech demo, but the game didn't really have a good, strong loop or point or anything. So I kind of shelved it. It was heading into the holiday season of 2024, and I got busy and I just put it down. And I didn't really pick it back up again until mid-June of 2025. So almost 7-month break on this game. But I had made so much progress on the systems and the tech behind it that I was feeling a little guilty about not going back to finish it. So I picked it back up and I thought really hard about what I wanted the game to be. I wanted there to be kind of a concrete win condition, like you could get to the end. And so I decided that what I wanted to do was have the game be more of a base or settlement defending game where you have to defend your settlement for a certain number of nights in the game. And there's multiple islands in the game, and each island you build a settlement on, and you have to defend your settlement on each island for a certain number of nights. And it doesn't have to be all at once. You can start on one island and build that up first and get that controlled, and then you can move on to the next island. Or if you want to try to like speed run the game, you can actually try to settle all the islands at once or multiple at once. So there's some strategy there. There's reward systems for doing either. Obviously, if you settle multiple islands at once and defend them, it may be a little more hectic, but you may have an easier time later in the game. So anyways, there's lots of options there for the player to choose what they want to do and how they want to play the game. And so since June of 2025, I've been pretty much in full development, full steam ahead. I was able to get the concrete win condition and loss conditions in place rather quickly. And since then, it's just been adding features and polish to the game, both in terms of systems, quality of life improvements, and visual updates. And I would say that the game is really getting close to being what I see as finished. Right now, I'm really trying to get a lot of play testing and feedback from close friends, as well as I'm kind of starting to ramp up towards sending the game out to content creators. So yeah, the game's come a long way, and I think it's starting to look really good. I think it's fun to play. I've ironed out a lot of the bugs. So yeah, it's on its way. So some of the latest things that have happened with the game, one really exciting thing is that I have been deploying the game to GX.games, which is the Opera GX browser's game store front, and it's a web game storefront. I've had it up there just to be able to easily share the game with people, and it's a low barrier to entry to play the game. And I joined Opera GX's Discord server, and they have all sorts of channels and showcase systems for developers to showcase their games. I did that. I posted that my game had been deployed after I hit a few development milestones that I was really waiting for. I was ready to start really starting to tell people about it. It was really awesome. I posted my game in their showcase feed, and within a couple weeks, I woke up one morning on a Monday morning really early, and I just happened to look at my analytics for GX.games, and I noticed that there was like a lot of plays on there compared to what I normally get. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I started looking around, and then I was like, I wonder if somehow I made it to the front page of GX.games. And sure enough, I go to the GX.games front page, and there my game, Knights of Nil, is on the number 3 spot, which was like so cool. I was getting like thousands and thousands of plays per day, thousands of hours of gameplay on it. The average session time was upwards of 2 hours, which I thought was really good for a web game. I don't know how good that is in terms of like the aggregate on GX.games, but I can imagine that it has to be okay on a web game. I can't imagine a lot of people go to GX.games and play a lot of games for multiple hours, and that's just the average. So there were some people who were playing it way longer than 2 hours, and some people who were probably playing it for like 10 minutes and then realized it was not what they wanted to play. So anyways, it's kind of crazy timing too, because as the game was featured on GX.games, the week before that, I had created my Steam listing and submitted it for approval. And like 2 days into my game being featured on GX.games, my Steam page got approved, and I was able to start driving traffic there to wishlist. So I quickly added an update to my game to add a Steam wishlist button on the main menu of the game while it was still featured for the rest of the week. It was actually featured almost over a week. And it kept moving around to different spots. It was on, it actually ended up being on the number 2 spot for a little while. So anyways, I actually got some wish lists out of it, which was really cool. It was just crazy timing, and I'm very blessed that it all worked out like that. And then beyond that, I shortly after that got my Steam demo listing approved and put up. So now there's a free demo on Steam connected to my main listing page. And the demo is just a preview of the game. It cuts you off after about 3 nights of gameplay. So like in the morning on day 4 of the game, you will kind of automatically be taken to a thank you for playing the demo page. And anyway, so I think it gives the players a good taste of what the game is and how it plays, but obviously doesn't spoil the whole game because there is a lot more to experience beyond that. So for what's next, basically a lot of polish. I still have content to add in terms of enemies and some building types and a couple scripted events that I am thinking about adding. Nothing too crazy, nothing strong narrative. The narrative piece of it is pretty much there, which I didn't even talk about yet. The narrative of the game is that you are a group of settlers sent by a king to settle the lost islands of Nil, and on your way across the sea to settle these islands as pioneers, you hit a really bad storm and you become shipwrecked, and you end up washing ashore the Knights of Nil with a fragment of your original crew, and you have to make do with what you have with a small group of villagers, and from there you have to settle and do the king's bidding of reclaiming the islands of Nil. The systems are mostly complete. I don't really have any major new systems to add, which is really good. Makes me feel good that that's in place. And like I said earlier, playtesting, going to be reaching out to content creators soon to hopefully get them to play the game and feature it on streams and channels. I've already registered for Steam Next Fest in February of 2026, and ultimately I'm hoping I can release the game in March of 2026, but that depends a little bit on feedback from playtesters and content creators, as well as where my wish lists are. I'm not taking this super seriously that like I think this game is going to be a big success or anything. I highly doubt that. This honestly is still a hobby to me, or is still a hobby for me until it's not. That's what I always say. It's a hobby until it's not, and I'm fine with that. I have I have a good career in software development. This is just a hobby. If I make a little bit of money off of it, that's great. If I make a little more than a little money off of it, that's wonderful. Someday, yes, I would love to go full time, but we'll see. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. In future videos, I want to go more into the technical side of things and discuss my journey through how the game started in terms of tech and technical challenges, and how I adapted and to get to where the game is now, which I think it's a lot simpler behind the scenes. I had to do some major refactoring, but I think it's a lot better and will have better performance as you get into the late game. So with that, thanks for watching. If you're interested in the game, I'll have a link to the Steam page in the description, so you can go add it to your wish list if it sounds like something that's interesting to you. And yeah, be on the lookout for more videos if you found this interesting. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.